Hello and welcome everybody. I hope you can hear me. Number one Joshi. Hello Horizon, Nancy's and Mark. Gamer, my trusted mod. Mark, welcome. Maybe I said that twice. Jeremy, hello. Hi Julia. Hey Jay. Please let me know if there is later on when we do the dancing, if you can't hear any music, just so I can put a little bit in the background. Would be appreciated. So just before we go on, I had some... There is some trouble right now. I'm having some technical problems, and I'm not sure why. So we've had 2 good dash streams. Everything worked fine. Then on Thursday, all of the sudden, I had codecs crashing when I did preview renders or did ordinary renders, which then cuts the recording. And if I'm streaming, which means then it doesn't like end the YouTube streaming, but it ends the OBS, which I'm running it through. So Jay helped me earlier to try and get it to work, and we found a workaround that isn't recommended though. And right now I can see on my stream, on my YouTube board thing, that it's complaining that the everything is in Swedish. I am running the... I'm guessing the bitrate on lower recommended settings. So I'm not really sure how everything's going to go, but if it should start buffering, then it's because something crashed, and I will try and be back, but hopefully I can get things fixed during the week. But I have no idea why things all of a sudden isn't working when it actually did work. But I wanted to show you guys some things before we get into the dash stream. But first, thank you everyone that's tuned in or watching, lurking, whatever. And thank you for watching, and I hope everyone had a good weekend and a yummy Easter. So let's see here if I can switch over and show you guys some things. So I wanted to show you guys some of the things I'm working on here. I just need to transition it over. Let's see. So yeah, I wanted to show you guys some bigger things, scenes that I'm working on, that we potentially may look at during streams, unless the streaming technical problems isn't solved, of course. I need to try and find some workarounds. But I am working on some videos, which is why I discovered this codec problem, because it kept crashing all the time. Hi Chris, thank you for coming in. So, okay, first I wanted to show you guys. Oh no, it hasn't saved the throne, the overall throne. Why not? It's not there. Uh, oh well, I can't show you the throne because then I have to go about my files and stuff, and I don't want to do that. Well, I can show you the throne, but I had a sketch of it. So I had this idea in my head of a stone throne, basically carved out of a mountain or big piece of rock. So I made a very, very simple sketch and showed that I wanted some bowl-like shapes in it where I could place candles and such. So Totte, also known as Code 66, made this for me. He did it very quickly, and it's really beautiful. I am using it for a few things, but it's quite big scenes. So even though I've had this product for some time, I haven't shown anything official with it. But this was a quick setup that I did just to see how it worked. And you can apply any shader you want to it, of course. So I'm going to show you. This is code 66, Totte. And disclaimer, I am not sponsored by DAS. I do, however, freelance for them. But I will show off and a lot of the products that I use or really like. And Code 66, also known as Totte, a fellow Swede, he loves to play tabletop role-playing games and make adventure and war games. And he has a lot of cool scripts. Simply it's scripts to make tedious tasks easier. He has toolboxes, material converters, different things for your scenes. A recent one I just got, let's see, was the environment set splitter. Horizon. I like that you show the products you enjoy using. It helps us to toy around with new things that can help for nice render results. Yes, I think so too. And sometimes we see products and we may not fancy it at first or really get a vision with it or something. And then we may see someone else do something with it and go, okay, I want that. That happens to me a lot. So I love browsing art just in general, and I look at the Desk Gallery quite a lot, and ArtStation and other places, just to see, partly because I really love just watching art, but it also inspires me, and both to make my own pieces or to get better simply, try and figure out how do they do these things. Hello, Wagren, and thank you for coming in, and thank you for the subscription last time. I do have alerts going, but I'm not sure if they're working or not. At the moment, we're experiencing a little bit of technical issues. So if anything goes wrong, I do apologize. I'm gonna try to fix it during the week. I've sat all day with it, but it didn't work so good. So, this wonderful throne. This one, I guess you could say it's a bit of a Final Fantasy inspired piece, but I have no clue what to do with it. This is as far as I've gotten, and I'm pretty happy with it as it is, but at the same time, I just feel it's missing something, or that I need to do more images to it, like an image series or something. But it's been laying around for some time. I just simply don't really know how to proceed with it, really. And this one, so this was a very complicated piece. I have both a black and white version and a colored version. This is a quick denoised, well, not quick really, but it's a denoised version. And denoise is a little setting you can put in DAS to help you get a more clearer render much quicker. So when you start a render, it renders a lot of noise often. But with the denoiser, it takes away the noise at the cost of smaller details, finer details. But the longer you let it render, the more those come forth. And in this scene, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 figures, but there's supposed to be another one, a female woman, standing with a briefcase, presenting a briefcase that has a lot of money in it. Now I can't render with all these figures in one scene, so I had to do several. I do 2 or 3 at a time, depending on how well it's rendering. Sometimes a hair can make it take longer. So I could maybe work with this guy and this one in the background. You hardly see her right now, but there is a woman standing there, and with this redhead guy. But with these two, I had to render them on their own. So in order to get these together, of course, I have to go into Photoshop. But the real problem came about when I was setting up this briefcase. All of a sudden, I couldn't render anything, basically. And I have no idea why. So that took me out of the mood of the image. But it's a pretty big setup. It's inside a factory that I removed some pieces, and then I took another office set, or it's a like cyberpunk computer play set that I took in and sat in this area here. And then I took in pieces from yet another set and set up like this gallery here. So there's a lot of pieces to it. And it's something that I won't be able to render in full without having to do multiple renders. Yeah, it's a really cool table. There's some pretty cool cyberpunk stuff. I also wanted to show you guys, can go over these. So this is by Stonemason, one of his beautiful Asian street sets, together with his floating temple that I put into the background. This one I want to make full of life, simply. Put in people going about their business. So I took away some rocks that was here. And there was some rock pieces here where the temple is. And the temple is a floating temple. I can show you that in a bit, that I just put in. Let me see if I can just Stonemason. Awesome stuff. So here we have it, Street of Asia 4. Hi Phil, thank you so much for coming. I hope you're doing okay. Hello, Seb. Thank you for stopping by. I apologize if I'm missing any comments. I'm trying to check you now and then. So here we can see the wall, for example, here, and there was a bit of trees here. So this is we can see a small house here. And what I did was simply to remove this part and then add it with this. Which is really cool set. The only downsides with these things at times is it's not always easy to like open windows. Stonemason has some good sets where you can open like shutters and stuff like that. But there may be some other things you might want to do with it that won't really be possible without doing some tricks, which we will get into on a later stream when we get down to some of the more advanced pieces that I'm working on. I have this one, for example, which is his medieval town set, his recent one. And I put in this well. So I want to build up either a day scene or a morning scene, or maybe I'll do morning, day, and night scene. But I would like to open these shutters up more and have the window gone so I can have a woman hanging out doing something with laundry or whatever. Problem is, these windows, I would have to go into the surface area and I can remove them. It does, however, remove everything else here on the side that is the windows too. And I can remove these, I don't know what they're called in English, but all these small things on the windows here, they won't go away. I'm not sure why. So I have to play around with that a bit more. But there are tricks that you can do to these things, and I'm going to show you, like this one. This is a very simple OBG house. OBG file is basically one single object, and that is from Dante 78 over at Renderosity. The medieval watermill. He has some really cool sets. They are, however, a bit limited in what you can do with them in DAS, for example, unless you use kit bashing and shaders and stuff like that. Oh no, I saw it buffering. But this is a cool set. But it's, for me, it's not really enough. So I did some things to it. I did this with the house. And I have my mobile in front of me so I can look down. When I sit and working dance, I often have a TV show or a movie or something going. So I'm used to keeping an eye on stuff. But I may still miss out on some things. But so this is, I can go back. This is this house. But what I have done is taken some pieces from other sets and like this extra window, you can almost see, you can see the original window behind it. I could not get rid of it. So there are ways that you can like cut out a piece of an object directly in DAS. However, the problem was there was like an invisible wall behind it. So even if I cut it out, it was still there. So I simply had to let it be like this. And the same here, you can see the original behind it. But I put in light between this facade and the original facade, so it give this effect on it. It almost looks like it has a curtain. I may actually have put in a curtain, but I can't remember. And then I put other textures on it. So I used shaders. Here I used a rock shader. And on the roof parts, I used another shader simply. So we went from this to this by doing some kit bashing. I call this the root of the problem. I thought I was finished with this piece, but I'm not really happy with it because of this kitty here. So it's supposed to be a cat sitting and watching everything, but you kinda can't see it, and it just looks like this weird blob. So I have to redo that part. But when I open it in DAS, because I did this on my other PC, so when I opened it in this PC, some of the files wasn't in the same place. So I have to find the correct path for them. So like the stone texture of the house is missing right now on this PC. But yeah, as we can see, there is a bit of a root problem. Some of these trees has taken roots and is stopping the water, and the giant is trying to help. We can see here there is a piece of root who stuck out too and took the chair along with it. I keep thinking Camilla is saying kid bashing. In this household, it's probably the other way around, with my son saying dwarf instead of mom. Now that's bashing. But he says it with love. But, so this is just one thing you can do with OBJ objects. So even if it's not perhaps made for DAS, you can take this in as it is and just add your lights and whatever and figures to it, and it will still render good. But also, if you want to do something different, you can simply take pieces from other sets and add shaders to it, and you get like a completely different house. We also have that with this one, the Moonshiner Stall for that studio by 1971's and Winter Brows. This is a really cute stall, and I am going to use this for a fantasy story that I've been working on for since my son was around maybe 2-3 years old. He's 23 now, so for about 20 years, and I've started to go back to it and actually start writing down stuff properly, and also making some figures for it. And that I want to make some kind of semi-graphic novel kind of thing. I'm not very good at doing continuous pieces. I like concepts and doing new ideas. But this is something I'm going to use for that story. So I took this carriage, and as we can see, it's a simple carriage stall with some beer kegs to it, some barrels. Now what I did with it, first, here we have what it looks like in a simple iRay rendered version. Julia, it feels like one of those games where you have to find things in a scene, hidden object games. I played so many of those. I was wicked at those. Mystery Manor on Facebook even. So yeah, so this is just a simple iRay render of the base. I took away the barrels and the crates because I wanted to decorate this for myself. This is the back side, so front and back. And this is what I have done with it. I just need to see. I did not. Hang on. You're gonna see some foul stuff. Don't look, don't look. Wait, where did I put it? There it was. So, this is Utma and Utpa's Food and Provisions Service Wagon. This is a sign that I took from Sunset, and then I simply opened the inner sign JPEG. I opened that in Photoshop, and then I wrote my text, added a little mushrooms to it, and then back in it in DAS. And then I got my own little sign. Utma and Utpa are pretty much Granny and Grandpa. And it made this one. So as you can see, I've added lots of stuff to it. So front, back, front, back. And I will show you a little bit what I've done. So partly I reshaded the top of these, but I also removed the, oh my god, what's it called? Tablecloth. As you can see, it was just a white, simple little tablecloth. And what I did was add another cloth that looks worn. And it was a cloth that you could simulate. So I had everything gone, nothing on it, and then I just put it over it and simulated it so it fell down naturally. And then I added all my little food pieces. We have some bread and butter, there's nuts and beers, there is some stews. To the cups, I simply took some new shaders on all the metal pieces. If we take a look, you can see how the metal looks here on the lanterns as well, or around these mugs. But I simply took another shader that I felt looked better. It looks more worn. So all the metal pieces got a new change. But I also changed out the lanterns themselves and put in another set of lanterns that I think feels better for the overall. I even found hooks from other sets. So sometimes you may see a scene and there's not much about it that you like, but it may have lots of small details that you can use in other pieces. So I found hooks that I put in. I looked at all my foods and picked herbs and sausages and hams and simply hung them up on these hooks. I've added a little bell to it, so when it's time to serve dinner, just ding-a-ling. And these little lanterns here are magic infused crystals that makes the wagon run. And as you can see, they have a little elevator step. So if you're short, like Utma and Utpa are, then you can just step on this little elevator and it will magically get you up. I've added a pot with a stove pot. There are lots of storage space inside this wagon. We have eggs and potatoes. You can see more here. Oh no, here. These are smaller renders, so maybe the quality isn't the best. I apologize. But these are just quick preview renders I did. Now, as you can see, I even put a wheel here so someone can sit and control the wheel in what way they want to go. And if we look at the original wagon, it doesn't have that. Thank you so much, Horizon and Yoshi and everyone. Yeah, I'm short too, Julia, so I have to think about these things. It's often in the store when I need something. Sometimes I have to spot the tall people and go, "Excuse me, sir, can you help me? I can't reach." So I simply put, I found, I think it was from a steampunk vehicle on DAS. Once I'm done with all of this and show off in my DAS gallery, I link to everything that I can, which is sometimes why it takes a bit for me to get my images up also, because I really want to link to everything, but it means opening up the scene and then finding every single thing that I used to make sure I got the right set. So these little crystal balls make sure that there is power to this wagon, and then Utpa or Utma can just steer their way through. I've also set up some other hooks here to the side. I have hung this herb. This set was a ready set that has these strings. And then I took different sausages, just put them up on some more hooks. And this then, since it's a provision wagon, I make sure that if anyone who is buying from this wagon, if they need new tools, that they can get so. We have rope and spades and axes and stuff like that. And they can get some cheese and bread and fresh herbs while they're at it, fill up whatever it is they need. So Utma will serve them a hot meal while they also can stock up on whatever provision they want. So this is the kind of stuff I sit with sometimes during night when, other people are sleeping. I am sitting concentrated for hours just making sure every little piece is where I want it to be. And it's quite frustrating sometimes when you get stuck because you can't find a piece or there simply isn't one in store. The sausages do look pretty good, huh? And I've even added a extra pot to the wagon to make it a little bit bigger, fill it out here. And I've added this. And this is pretty much balconies, wooden balconies from a kit set, a building kit set that I scaled down to fit as I wanted. And then I took some wood shaders and added that. So we went from this original piece set to this provision, food and provision service wagon. Thank you, Yoshi. But this isn't easy though. It's not hard work, but it can be challenging. It definitely takes some time, and I can get quite hooked up on details and making sure everything looks right from every angle. But at the same time, it's like therapy. So it's the whole process. It's not just um having an image, it's actually putting it everything together, getting your vision. Sometimes I go into a scene and I have a clear vision of what I want to do, what products or sets I want to use. But sometimes I take something like this wagon. I knew I wanted to do something with this wagon. I knew I wanted it, but I wanted to alter it somehow. And this is what came about it simply. And then I realized that, aha, I can use this to my story. And then I started personalizing it more for the story. Just a quick thank you for all of you who are here and watching also. I really do appreciate it. So I'm just going to show you a few more. Let me just see. So I have this one we are going to save for later. This one we have watched. Okay, so I'm just thinking. So here I have a story piece set. I found when this castle inside the interior came to Das, I got quite inspired by it, and it felt very like Games of Thrones. And then the new figures started coming. This was, I think I made this just before Genesis 9 came along, and then we used this set for Nicholas. Let me just get that. What was Nicholas? Nicholas? Was that his name? Yes. Let's see. So, for Nikolai 9, when doing one of the extras for him, it's loading. I apologize, it's taking a bit of time. But I had already done this scene, but for whatever reason, I had stopped working on it, but I really liked it, and I knew I was going to use it either like this or somehow. So I made this, but then they happened to see this one and really liked it. So I simply took out some details, changed a bit, and then I put in Nicholas and his well, what I can't remember what her Minerva, I think she was called, who came at the same time or just after. So I made it for this scene instead. But I will be doing this because I want to make this into an image series, just like I did with the Rome. So if you people haven't watched my Rome slideshow on certain futures, please do go and watch it. It's on a video here. It's quite short. It's just over a minute. But that's like a short art story, you could say. And this is one of those pieces that I'm planning to do with it, or a similar thing with. But here it was this overall castle that just inspired me. And I realized that this guy, he looks like Jamie Lannister. Thank you so much, Horizon. Lika and Velo. Oh, okay, Yoshi. I can show you that one. Yeah, so that's quite cute. This one is also, this is for um, a image series I had planned, but with some text to it about friendship. But it's meant for maybe younger. I'm not sure which way I'm going with it. But this was the first piece I made. I am to make a full scene of it. I'm just not sure how to go about it. I want them in the Japanese street, but I want to mix in some of the old architecture buildings in it, but also have an ice cream shop. So, but I'm just not sure how to do it. Okay, so here, this one is something I'm working on now. This is my most recent piece. And it was during this one I discovered the codec crashing problem, which is, yeah, it simply causes OBS to stop recording. It's a very big scene, and I have been recording this, but because of the codec problem, it missed out on the early stages, so I had to go back and re-record some things and just do a render of it to be able to show how I went about it. But I'm not sure what to add in the background because I want more. I don't just want him, but I want like a cinematic feeling view of it. So I did these that I'm maybe gonna add in behind him. Problem is, if I do add them in, then this guy, he will be blocking this light. And I kind of want the lights to be seen, because in a way they frame him in. Even though your eyes are still drawn to him, it still helps framing him in. And if I do have figures in the background, it's easier if I have a figure closer to a light, because then your eye will still go to the light. So even if the figure may be hard to see, especially if it's foggy and dark, because of the lights, your eyes will still be drawn in to look at that part, which then, if you didn't notice at first at overall, then you will see whatever is happening there. I don't really have a technique about these things. It's more what feels right for the image itself. But rendering with these tattoos, though, it took a lot of the PC. So I couldn't render the tree parts behind him. I had to render him and the scenery here itself I could do, but as soon as I put in the trees, then it got too noisy and it would take an hours to render out. So I tried taking off his tattoos and then it rendered really well. So probably because the tattoos are emissive, they give up light. They do take a lot on the PC. So this is probably a piece where I have to do some double rendering and then put them together in Photoshop. But I'm not too sure about the orcs themselves. However, what I wanted to take up about these orcs was that I went to DAS and just happened to browse about. So usually we come to this place, right? To the shopping place. But we have the very first one, the welcoming page. But then usually I just go to the shopping page, or I already have my page saved at the shopping page. So sometimes I miss what's being shown here. But the other day I went scrolling and I saw something quite amazing. Artist Interview Series. Stephen Saunders, the Hobbit artist, brings new orcs to DAS. So it turns out that Stephen Saunders, who actually worked on The Hobbit, he is the one who created the new Grugmar and Norba for DAS. And apparently he works with DAS base figures. So I thought I would just show you this quickly because, wow, I love Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings is my yearly New Year's movie. All three extended, of course. But I also watched The Hobbits, and they are not as bad as some people think. They are not nowhere near as legendary as epic as Lord of the Rings, but they are still good. They are still funny. I cry, I laugh, and yeah, what more can you really ask, right? So, but when I saw this, really cool. Both as a Lord of the Rings Hobbit lover and as an artist and everything, I found it really cool that they got him. And he speaks of that he actually has used DAS before. For DAS, I tried to combine my sensibility with an interpretation of what I think a DAS orc could be. Here, when I started to talk to the team at DAS, I made the orc as a test to familiarize myself with DAS Studio. I used the shaping tools and deformation sliders to get my basic shapes and develop the character further in ZBrush. Here. DAS is an incredible versatile program with shaping, rigging, and rendering all possible in one place. I had used DAS before in blocking out poses and dimensions for collectible statues, but never to the level I went to with these orcs. There was a lot to learn. So this is an actual sculptor who then, I'm guessing, DAS found on ArtStation. I know they have found several people there who have made some amazing ones. Cleo 8.1 was an ArtStation from an artist. Several of the new ones has been directly from sculpture and modelers who has pages at ArtStation. I love looking through ArtStation and trying to find these things. But yeah, so that's what I wanted to show you. So perhaps we should get started. We spent an hour on just showing you stuff, but I do promise that next stream then we will continue on the scene that we will be working on today. And this is the setup I am going for today, which is a path to somewhere. That is by Predatron. who has this beautiful set. Lush and beautiful. Quite simple, yet not, because it's full of lots of flowers. And it had some good sub render levels on it, so you can get some good quality images. And this is a quick pre-rendered set of just default, what it looks like in default. Take care, Yoshi. Hope you have a good one. Let me just catch up quickly on the chat, please. Horizon, I love so much that you share your perspective of things with us, that you explain why you choose what to do and what not. Thank you. Yeah, that's what I'm hopefully aiming at, that I'm not very good at the technical stuff and all that, and often I don't remember things until my brain is triggered specifically on that thing, and I go, ooh, I know this. But often when we come across things, then we come into arrows, and perhaps then it's easier for me to explain how I go about it. Mark asked, what GPU are you using? If graphic cards, I'm using an RTX 3080 Ti, triple fan. But my PC is not so new though. I've just upgraded a few things though. I have a second PC, but it needs repairing. So yeah, I'm just going to show you quickly the 3 base sets here. So this is what the default looks like. And this is what the preview of the stream pretty much looked like. I've just pumped up the colors a bit for the preview image to this stream. But as you can see, I've added another sky and I've added some water. So instead of having this road, I made a small river patch. Take care, Yoshi. So, and this is then the path to somewhere by Predaton, and then I am using Dimension Theory Skies of Gaia, which I absolutely love. They are gorgeous. They have a mountain range background, which you can make higher or lower, and different sky sets, so you can really get different moods and uses of it. And you don't have to have the mountain range or the ground. You can only get the skies if you want. It even has a evening night sky. So I'll be using that, and then we are using SY Rippling Water Array by Sickle Yield. Sickle Yield has a lot of good products and very helpful products. So if you're into DAS but maybe are not aware of the names of that, then Sickle Yield is definitely one you may want to look up. They have many useful products and scripts. So this is water with different splashes and that. And that's pretty much what I thought we were going to do today, is working with the water part and of this river. I'm going to give it life. So I already put in 2 figures. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to put my things into group. So I can hide them and work with them much easier, especially now that I'm running with some technical issues. So if we are to do any preview render, just be prepared that it may crash my OBS studio. Hopefully it won't. Hopefully we found a workaround, but if it does. But I'm going to try and make sure to have as little stuff in the scene when if I do the preview render, so hopefully it doesn't crash. But so I'm just going to group my different things in so I can easily hide them and unhide them when I want to. So I'm going to go to these lines in the scene and do create new group, and I'm going to have my base environment here, and then I'm just going to drag that to the group. Now everything within this, if I hide this group, then it would hide everything within it, and I can't turn them on either. I can do them individually once I have the eye open again. And then we have the grasses. Here we already have a group, and that's because it's full of instances, which is we have these core bushes here, but they also have all these small instances which goes around in this environment. Sometimes they can be hard to find. We see a little movement over here. If your PC is going slow when you try to work with it, then sometimes it's because there is a lot of these instances. So it can pay off going around individually on each items and see if you see them in the camera view. If you do not see them in the camera view and it doesn't give off any shadows seen in your overall image that you in the camera view, then you can just hide them so they don't have to be read in once you do the renders. I think there are some things that here, so like this bridge is these stones, and in sub level, render sub level, they were up to 2, and that is basically the quality. So if you do close up of these stones, you may want to pull that up so you get much better quality of the stone. But since we're having these in the backgrounds, since this is the camera view that we are going for and going to build everything from, so I don't need to have these high sub level on, and they will pull down your render time. So with my bases, we can see it's on a 2 here. When you open up Genesis 8.1, these will often be up on 3 on the eyelashes and the female tier. And if you are on a lower end PC or not as good card, even with my card, it can really pull down the render time and or make it hard to even get a preview render. So when you open up your items, you can make sure in your parameters and in general to see if they have any render sublevels. If you don't render them up close, then there's kind of no point to have them up high. So on mine, I turn the eyelashes and the female tiers, I turn all the way down to 1. And then these just overall base I usually have on 2. Unless I am doing them more as background characters or options and not really have to have them up close, then I tend to pull them down. Genesis 8 will take a little bit less on the computer though. So I'm going to group the figures too. Create new group. Then I'm just going to pull them in. And then instead having to pull them around separately, I can just pull them both and they follow suit. I have both a guy and a girl in because I'm not quite sure what I have planned. All I know is that I really want to work with this set right now and build something up. And there are some different ways we can go. I think I do have an overall plan that we are gonna go with that isn't as complicated. But I'm thinking having at least a girl standing and get some wind in a dress, so I can show some simulation with the D-force wind. But we're also gonna look a bit at kit bashing of how we can build this scenery up. So for now, I'm just going to hide these. And I'm going to put my water in the base also. So now I can just hide everything if I want to. It just makes it easier to work with simply. Save. So, if we look at the image here, this is our overall camera view that I want. So I want to build something from this view. So whatever we see will be from here. And overall, I'm thinking of having a girl maybe standing here on this rock to get some wind in her hair and her dress. That way we can play a bit with the D-force simulation and play around with the D-force wind node to get some wind in. Some outfits do have wind morphs in it, but sometimes they work great. Sometimes they may even be better than simulation, and other times you get a better result with the D-force wind. The D-force wind node, though, I'm pretty new to, so I'm still learning it as well. So I'm sure we can get some really fun results with that when it explodes. So, but first, I want to see or just show that if we had a scene like this, what could we do besides just, putting some figures in? So the plan is to have some figures in, having this girl here, maybe a little brother playing with the water, so we can get some water splashes in. I'm into water right now. I want to play more with that. And then maybe set up some house, their home in the background that we can see a bit of. Maybe we can see a bit of a pasture or something. That's the overall plan for the image. However, we can also just check around a little to see with kit bashing what could we do more. For example, this increase in this rock here, it's pretty round, and for whatever reason I just see some kind of ancient tablet, magic tablet of some sort, and then build up like have little houses, so that this would be a ginormous world, ancient world with magic stuff, and then we have like smaller settlements here. So it would be, for us, this is a normal size world, but for those living here, so we could, for example, maybe if we have a hang bridge, hang that over the rocks here. But of course we have these flowers, so for us normally it's just normal flowers. But if it's for smaller people who's living in this world, then these would be gigantic flowers. But we can remove them, luckily, with these set, which is really good. So we have this grass flower pack. You can see. Oops. can see these small purple flowers. And if I remove here, it's also these weed things. Not weed, grains. So I can hide them individually. So if I do want to adjust this world to be more like this were a gigantic big world, then I can still hide the different things individually and then either make them bigger or smaller to fit. But for example then, I'm going to show you architecture. Just going to see exterior. I'm looking for a particular set. My memory isn't the best, so it's not always that I actually remember what they're called. No. Then it's in props, architecture. Hope everyone is well. Everyone doing good in the chat. Thank you all for looking. I apologize if I miss anything. Half timbered house. Keep that in mind because I think this, if we can probably add this right away. This is pretty cool. So this is just a simple house, half timbered house. You get a very simple house, but it also has a snow covering. So if we want this setting to be winter, then we can just add the snow covering and then we can add some ice shaders to this. Ooh, maybe we should do that. So we can make like this summer setting. And then when it's done, we can make a winter setting too. And see how we can change from one season to another, but within the same image. A beautiful hobbit home. Thank you, Vagrant. Much appreciated. My pronunciation may not be the best at times, but it's good practice at least. So I do think we are going to take this house. So it looks like we're inside the house, yes. So we can fill it up. Not all buildings like this have a good inside that you can make use of. But with this, we could actually fill it up with stuff. It doesn't have a ceiling or floor here in between, but with some kit bashing or a floor from another one, we could easily add a floor to it. This is what it looks like. So if we put lights inside, we will see the lights also. And we can even open the door. Oh, wrong way. Like this. Yeah, if we open it too far, then we will have to do some adjustments, move it manually. Unless it doesn't have any, sometimes they have options, actor options, so they could have been an open door option here. But these are still simple enough that we can open them ourselves. So we are just not sure where it will work best to have it. But we want it someplace in the background. So I'm just going to use this as reference right now, my image, instead of having to do preview renders, just not to overload the Op Studio and that, since it does have some current problems. I hope the quality is okay, since YouTube Studio did warn me about the quality thing. I wasn't running as high as I should, but this was the only way, not getting it to crash. So I have to look into that. But I think let's see. Do you guys hear any music, by the way? In the background, you don't, right? Because I just remembered that I actually forgot to put it on. And I told you at the start of the stream, please let me know if you don't hear any music. Did anyone tell me? You probably did and I didn't listen, huh? But I'm supposed to have a little bit of music on. So when I go quiet, you don't just hear nothing, you know? Okay, I'm putting some music on. Let me know if you actually hear anything. I might need to raise the volume a little bit. Yeah, at the start, Gamer, but throughout, you know. Thank you, Julia. I just want just a tiny bit in the background, just in case I do go very quiet. So according to my ops, and I hear it, but you guys don't hear anything, huh? Thank you, gamer. But yeah, so you guys don't hear anything, although I do have it on? No, I do not, do I? Oh, wait, why isn't there any sound? Oh well. Uh-huh. But no, that's not going to work either, because then you're not going to see what I'm doing. Okay. I have to fix that on another stream then. I do apologize for anyone who wanted music, but I'm not sure how to fix it. Yeah, we tried, so I have some problem with my game audioing. So when I do the game stream, the audio sounds a bit hollow. So you were in a try to change some things, but apparently it must have changed the music setting I had for the dash stream too. But okay, so we have this house. I am going to attempt. I'm just gonna shut this off, just in case. I am going to attempt a preview render. So if it starts buffering, it's because it crashed temporarily. But then I just need to restart the stream. Not the YouTube stream, but the Op Studio. But yes, we have a house. And it didn't crash. Okay, we're getting somewhere. However, I noticed that my Gaia environment is not there. It should be here. It's not. Oops. Let's see. Just well, we can't have the house in front, just straight in front of the rocks. I may want to put it up a bit, just so I can get a better view on it. So I might put a little hill or something. kind of want it there. So now you can see when we look from this angle, of course it doesn't look right. But if we look from here, it looks pretty good. Just going to take Gaia. Okay, I'll keep that in mind with the music. I was just worried that people would find it extra boring if I stop talking and just go silent. When I get into an image, that sometimes happen. So I think I was using the basic sky. So as you can see here, we have the skies. So if I just want the skies, I can get that. And here we have with the ground setting and the mountain range in the background. And then we have the horizon. So here I can put down the mountain range. So if I don't want it as visible, I simply hit this and it will turn it down. Or I can go this and we get even higher. We can try and do a quick preview render just to see if it works. So keep your fingers crossed it doesn't crash. I want sky number 7, so I'm just making sure that I have that. Thank you, Horizon. So now we can see in the environment map that it has changed to what I wanted. And this is also where I put in my, when I sit, of course when I do the final render, then I put in all my settings as I want them. I put rather high settings on, so I get as best quality as possible. That takes a bit longer to render also. But when I do build up the scene or whatever, then I just want to see quickly what it is it looks like. Because when you see the scene overall in this is not what it's going to look like, of course, when you're rendering it. So it's good to have this denoiser on. It's usually hidden like this. So post denoiser available and enable the denoiser. The default is at 8. So this just gives you a much clearer view quickly at the cost at small details. The longer you render it, the more details comes out. So that's why I usually have that on when I'm working with something. And now we took the mountain range. So we should be able to see a bit of mountain in the background. Let's hope it doesn't crash. So if it starts buffering, I will be right back then if so. But hopefully not. Oh, you see, we got a... But we can see the house is floating, of course. And we got a bit of the mountain range. So if I want it bigger, we got it bigger. And if I want it smaller, we can just do this one. But I don't want a mountain range right now. I might change my mind later, but for now I just want the sky. Many times as I work on a scene, if I start playing with lights, it can change the overall feel, and I might start changing out things because all of a sudden I get this new vision of the scene I'm working with. So I also try to make a lot of different saves. So right now this is just one save, but usually I will have up to 5, 4, 6, 7, 8 scene saves just in case I want to go back if I do try something and I really like it, but I may not want it for this particular piece, then I can always go back and play with it. But so we saw that this house was floating a bit from this view, and I don't want that, of course. So I'm going to find a hill, ground of some kind. I could go through all the stuff I have, but sometimes it's just easier to put in a search. I think I have some meadow grounds. We could probably also just take this set, or a piece, not a piece of it, but we could take this and make it smaller and then put it under if we want it to fit more with the colors of it. But I like to take from my different sets. It gives it a new look, and everybody can take a product, put it in DAS, put on a light, and render it out. You know, we can all get the same images. So it's when you put a little bit extra into it that you get a bit more of uniqueness to it. And there are those who make some amazing scenes, kit bashing, some really good ones. Sometimes it's hard though to know where to start or how to get your vision out. So yeah, basically I'm just going to see if I have a fitting ground garden spider mount. A lot of the time it's like Christmas when you browse around your stuff. What is this? I didn't know I had that. It's not very big though. So then we get gigantic weeds. Yeah, no, maybe not the best. So of course, unless you're doing, since we're just going from one angle, I don't need to have everything looking right, so to say. It's just if you are going to take more snapshots, then you will have to make sure that everything looks right from that angle. Then we get all these big grass pieces in there. I kind of don't want that. Ooh. There, maybe. Let's just see. Flora, grass. Huh? 302 instances. I have no clue. Let's see if it can do anything. Maybe. I am just going to put that in a group of its own. We may use it. We may not. So usually I just go around picking out. So now I will be picking out the grounds that I might see fit, and then simply pick out the best one. The more stuff you have, the more to choose from, the more variation you can get. But of course, it takes some time to build up. These things have taken some time to collect and buy. And then I've been lucky enough, since I do work as a promo artist, we do get the products, of course. I'm looking for a particular ground, but I can't remember what it's called. Pigsty ground plants. We have ivy, we have some desert ground. What is this? NH base. Ooh, that's a huge bridge set with ice covered. So this is much bigger. We can try this. Mark, when I use denoiser for iRay preview, I set my max samples to 100, so my GPU isn't rendering 5000. When I use denoiser in the filtering, your minimum samples, no, max sample to 100 instead of 5000. Yeah, you can do that too. When I do my final renders, I put them at 150,000. So this was a big ground set. Oh, it had a tree. Well, several trees on it too. And some things just takes a lot of the computer. So sometimes you figure that out as you go along and you try and do your preview renders. And then you notice that it's not going so well. Then you have to adjust your idea. This isn't going to work because the ground is now sticking up over, and we don't want that. So the mount, because it was a bit of a hill, works much better for that. I do have let's see, where is this? The Blossoming Spring Modules. Very beautiful set. We have a bit of flowers. I am planning on using these and put out some flowers here along the riverbed here with these. Give it a bit more life. And then we have these sets. You can remove the trees and the flowers, I think. This one has a pond. Yeah, I think it's this one who has a pond. We have the small preload. I'm just going to see what it looks like, because it has a bit of a hill. So if we can get it to fit under. Take care, Julia. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you have a good week. I just need to check what time is it. It's okay, so we got about 30 minutes to go. And then next stream we will just take off from where we left off. Then we will get more into it. Since we spent, or I spent, an hour just showing you some stuff and scenery. And if there are any of the things that I've shown you, if there are any particulars of those images that you would like to see a bit more of the scene in, then I can do quick video of that, or show you on stream sometime. So if there are anything from my art that you would like to see more of the inside of that scene, just let me know. We can try and take, so I want to make, I might want to make the ground so I can move the trees at least, if I don't want them there. So, okay, the downside with this is the hill part is going straight into the house. I didn't really do much, huh? Then we might as well pull it down and see. There's some apple trees and bushes, an elm tree and an oak tree. It's a really good set. You get a lot of variety with them. And the single props. I've done a few images with them. So let's see what we can do with the trees. It's that one? Okay. We don't want that tree so close. Here we can see that it went into the house. And which tree is that? I think was there a tree behind it? Oh no, that's that one. Did it go into the roof? Time to zoom in. Sometimes it's a bit tedious getting around in a scene, especially if you are working on a little broader or bigger scene. Then you have to get into the details. Okay, so there it goes in there, but then it's in there. I think I'm happy with that. And that's that tree, and that was the bush. Yep. So this tree, what is that? That's those. We aren't really seeing that. So I'm just going to hide it for now in case I want to use it later. Okay. We have these little bushes. Do we see them? No, oh, it's just the one we see over here. Then we have these. This one I do not see. So we can close that for now. That was that one. So I don't think, oh. Can I add that? I think I want this tree instead of that one. Maybe let's look and see what it looks like. I like the roots. On this rock here, maybe. Like it's clinging onto the rock. Zoom out. Oh my god, it's stuck there. So it doesn't fit the rock like perfectly or anything. But if we really want to fiddle with it, we could just add another rock and fill in the gap. But I don't think we need to do that. So that one we didn't see. Now I can use that tree. There. I want it more like there. Save. Let me just catch up with the chat. Mark, well, the attention to detail to that background. Yes, but that's the thing. Many times it's all about the details. And when it comes to these things, I'm a bit of a perfectionist. I want to build up this world. You never know when I may need this scene again, and then if I want to take a shot by the house, I will have to fix the gaps, of course. But if we just go about everything from this view, I just want to build up this world and give it life. Because right now, sure, it's a scene, but it's not that much. But when it comes to the small details, it still does a lot in the overall. I mean, it makes you, if you have can spend a bit of time in a piece of art, that's a good thing. As long as it's not overcrowded with details. Okay, wish me luck. I am going to attempt a preview render of this. I don't know how much of the... We don't see the flowers very much, do we? I'm just trying to turn off to see what I can visually see disappear. I can see a tiny bit of grass in the background, but not a lot. And I see a little bit there. There were no flowers there. I can see you probably don't see it, but if I turn these away, they may take a bit on the PC, I don't know. So if it starts making troubles when trying to preview render, then I may start to either hide some things or find alternatives. So if I really want flowers there, but everything is just dragging it down, then I may have to find some other flowers or do several renders. But for most part, this set is really good. I've used it a lot of times, so hopefully it shouldn't be any troubles. Unless it's a codec crash. But we are going to make a quick preview and see what it looks like. We got about 15 minutes left of the stream. So I think next stream we are just going to continue. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I'm going to take down the tree a little bit on the rocks. It's giving off a bit too much shade just from what I can see here. And of course, just making you can make a quick test render the ordinary way, then you can get a much bigger view to see what it looks like. And we are going to do that the last minutes, just in case the codec crash. So better to take that at the end so you can get a bigger view of what it actually looks like. But just at the preview, it looks pretty good. But I want this to go down a bit more. But okay, so we got the base of our house set up at least. And if we could basically use any house we want, of course. We just happen to choose this one. But the more set you have, the more you have to play with. I wanted to show you guys a particular set, because I wasn't sure if I was going to use this house or these other houses. It's a special kit, a fantasy house kit. It's where I took to the wagon and used the balconies. Here we have them. So the medieval village houses construction set. There are two sets. The houses and the mansions, and they are so cool. I have 32 RAM. That is the recommended for DAS in general. So as you can see here, it has all these bits and pieces. So you can set up your complete own setup. They have some preview presets or already done presets. So we have the mana presets. I think we can try these two. And then we can decide which one is best. It depends a bit on how it renders also. But you can set up your own ground and your own upper set, and just add doors, these lanterns, and you have the window parts. It's a really cool set. We have the chimneys, so we can even use pieces from here and add to this house if we want to. So we can add a chimney to it, and then we just have to make sure that we match with some shaders and that. But if we wanted to add another addition to this one, for example, if we want this 0 window, what's wrong with this one? Or is that maybe that's a tower? No? Let's try it. Ah, here we can see what it looks like. So we can put lights in it and get light outside the window. So I can add it to any place I want. But I think that we will add... Oh, it's gigantic compared to this house. I think we are going to have a girl with like either carrying water or some kind of basket, and then maybe have a little boy by one of the rocks in the river fishing or something. I don't have a old fishing rod though. I just have modern fishing gear, but I want like an old fishing rod. I'm just going to hide this. I don't know if I have like a stick that I could use as a old simple fishing rod, and I'm not sure if it's any point to actually put a line in if we would see a fishing line from the angle of view that we are, or if it's just better to like paint something. Wait, what did the houses look like? How can we use this? Maybe this is better. We can see samples in these houses. Ah, yeah, so they are using it for in between the roof part. So of course we're not actually going to see this like from this side, but do we even see anything? I don't think it's going to do much, actually. So we're probably not going to use that. Yeah, that didn't do much. We hardly see it, so no point in having that there. So this is how you do it. You just sit and test your things until you get it right, basically. But we can take this house and see what it looks like. Maybe we like this better. So the half-tempered house. I'm going to yet again create a new group just so I can easily hide it. I'm going to write house 1. That way I can close it. And this is already set up in a group, so I can quickly hide it. We're inside the house, so we can fill this up too. This has flooring, and it has flooring between the first and the second level. So we can even go inside these houses and decorate them and put up a full interior scene if we want to. And we can see there's already some lights set up here. And what's really neat about it is it also has lights. So we can put emassive on. So during an evening scene, we get some lights. And we should be able... Let's see, maybe that is in the other construction. I have a few construction scene. I have a medieval village walls construction scene. I have the medieval interior construction. We have the Forsaken Keep. The mansion. Here we have a bit more options when it comes to materials. But these can be used together, if I remember correctly. I think we should be able to. So this part, upper green. This is upper walls. Yes, work perfect. So if we want a blue house, we can get a blue house. Can we make this green? Yes, haha. We can make it multicolored. But I'm going to just check the sub level. It doesn't look like it has anything in particular. So from what I remember, these are fairly simple to render. I think we can even open the shutters. Yes, as you can see here, we do have a shutter open in the parameters here. Whereas in this house, did we have any here? No, here you can see we have the doors, but not really open them. We can move them to the direction we want, but we can't actually open the doors in that sense. Whereas here we can. But now I'm curious. What would this look like instead? Let's go and remove that and the mount. Oh. It's a big house. Keep your fingers crossed. No crashing. But we are almost done. I'm just going to see what this looks like, and then I'm going to be doing just a quick full render so you can see what it looks like in a big view, unless it crash. So yeah, now we got a whole different house set up. This was of course just a test, but I think that we are going to go with the first house, especially if we are going to do a a summer scene and then we can do a winter scene, since this house actually do have uh, a winter setup. But I might be able to, in the week, during the week, go over a bit of this and see if I can add a bit of things, see what we can do with it, and then if I find something, show you on Sunday how I go about that, or how I went about that. But for now, I'm just going to do a quick actual render so we can see what it looks like. But thank you all for coming and staying and watching. I really, really do appreciate it. I hope that I am not babbling or rambling too much or forgetting things. So here we just have a quick preview render here. Yeah, the tree looks pretty good on this rock. And then by putting this in the foreground later on, when we are using the camera, we are going to put a bit of focus on it so we get more depth to the image itself. So the trees and the house won't be as in focus. We're not going to put too much defocus on it, because we still want to see the details now that we put the work in. But it will help bring depth to the scene. So at least we got a base setup here. And then we can next time start playing, adding a figure and that, and figure out if we want what we want here. If we want some kind of pasture. I got pigs, I got cows, I got horses. However, some of the animals really do take a lot on the PC. For example, the DAS horses, as soon I can have the horse in and play around with, but as soon as I add the hair, then it starts dragging, and so I can drag and then I have to wait a little bit and drag, and that's no fun, you know. So sometimes you have to set it up and then add the more difficult things in the last moments. But this looks like something we can work with next time. So we looked around, we started with this. This is all I knew that I wanted to work with. And just to show you quickly, I'm just going to save river scene. Just going to go out quickly. So now that we look from this view, we can see that it doesn't look very good if we were to do a render there. So right now it's all about from where we have this angle, camera angle. It is messing with me right now. It doesn't want to go up as quick as I want it to. So just a quick overview. This is the base scene. We have this. And then I added water to it, which we can see this part here. You can see it goes out into the grass, but that kind of doesn't matter. And what we get is this view, the water. And then we added a little bit of mount. So it looks good from this view. And our house. Now you're seeing everything I'm doing. But yeah, again, I want to thank you all for coming and hanging out with me, watching as I go about this. And if you do have any questions, please do ask. You can ask in the comment section. And if there's anything in particular on my images that you would like to have a closer look at what kind of setup I have, feel free to ask away. So thank you everyone, Nancy's, Mark, Horizon, Chris, Julia, Yoshi, everyone who was by here, Vagrant, thank you so much. And if I got any subscribers, thank you. I'm not sure if my alerts are working, so I have no idea. Actually, I have them at top, so they should be, but I'm not sure. I'm still learning everything. And with some technical issues, I haven't really been able to figure or finding the solution to them. It appears to be a lesser known problem, but I am running everything through one PC, so of course that's going to take its toll on the PC running several programs, and DAS do take a bit. But yes, thank you everyone. Hope you all had a really good weekend and have a good and safe upcoming week. Next weekend, I wasn't planning on streaming anything, but I might actually do a game stream. We had some change of plans, so I will be available. But otherwise, I will be back next Sunday to continue on this scene. So take care everyone, and thank you all for coming by.